with a first impressions video for you. Now, I've got two knives here, so this is sort of a double feature, but I'm actually going to focus more on just one more so than the other. And the one I'm going to focus on is this guy right here. The other knife I've got here is the Thorax from Tuya Knives, and I really like this design quite a lot, but it's older and a number of people have already reviewed it. So I'm not going to spend as much time with this guy. I will give you a quick size and weight and just my initial thoughts on it very quickly, but I'll spend a little more time on this guy because there's some background here. So went to Blade Show. I talked with Dave Warren of Tuya Knives. He's the US rep and does a great job. I've interacted with Dave a number of times. He's a super nice guy, and we've talked about other things as well. So I stopped by the booth and I was chatting with him, and right away he wants to show me this knife, and I get it. This is a really, really nicely done knife from Tuya. It's sort of their current flagship. And they've done some great stuff. The hive that got a bit of attention last year was very nice, and I think this is another real win for them. And so what happened was I said, hey, Dave, you know, it was a zoo when I was stopping by his table. So I said, let's, why don't I come back and I'll check everything out then and make a full video with some of the knives, and you can kind of share with us the new stuff you've got coming out. And of course, Blade Show being what it is and my schedule being less than ideal for what I was trying to do, I didn't get back. So a week or so after Blade, I touched base with Dave. We were talking about some stuff, and I was able to pick these two knives up from him and now bring them to you guys because I was pretty excited to check them out. I guess just gonna have to sort of do it the old-fashioned way, right? Buy it, have it mailed to me, and away we go. So here is the knife that I want to initially share with you. I will grab that Thorax and give you a quick rundown on it as well, but this is sort of the star of the show. We have a knife here of titanium, well, sort of a bolster-ish lock, okay? Because these are sort of, are they liners? Not really. They're more overlays. Well, they're more inlays. So we'll call this a bolster-ish lock. The detailing on it is really, really nice. And it's got some really high-end stuff going on here. So blade up front is M390 steel, compound grind, pretty thick blade stock, but I really like that in an EDC knife. I know some people will likely complain about it. I won't mention any names, Nick Shabazz, but I really, really like it, and it is nice and thin behind the edge, so it actually cuts pretty darn well. We've got a ceramic bearing pivot here, really dialed in detent, so it's just snappy enough that this is really enjoyable, and it fires out pretty hard there. And this is quite smooth as well. Sometimes, you know, a knife out of the box is only so-so. Now, let me, by the way, I'm going to stop here for 1 second. So we've talked about the blade. I'll come back to the rest of the knife. Let me show you this box. Check that out. So a full hard case with some foam inside here, microfiber cloth. There is the Tuya knife card. You can see Dave's name there and contact info. But what I will do is, that's an email form, which is great. But I think the best thing you can do if you're interested in Tuya knives is check out the website and follow the Facebook page. That Facebook page is really good. Dave does a good job of sort of updating things and sharing new stuff that they've got coming out. And so definitely worthwhile to be on that Facebook page. And as I say, I'll put a link in the description box. Okay, back to the knife at hand. So we've got this really nicely milled bolster portion here with sort of a, I don't know, do you call it a bubble pattern or what you call it exactly? Very attractive. I like that detail. And then we've got just a nice little line separating that from the marbled carbon fiber inlay or overlay, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's an inlay. And this is really nicely done. I will say the show side is very, very nice. On the, yeah, you can kind of see it there. On the lock side, there are some voids sort of right in this area. And that takes a little bit away from the knife because I will say a knife as impressive as this and the carbon fiber finished as nicely as this is, when there is a void, it sort of stands out like a sore thumb. But overall, very, very attractive. And certainly as you just look at the knife, the voids are not so bad that you're like, whoa, what's going on there? It looks really, really good. Milled titanium clip. I haven't had it in and out of pocket yet. There's no internal milling, but this stays pretty light because of the fact that a bunch of material is removed to accommodate that overlay. Let's give you the specs really quickly here. 8 3/8 inches overall, 3.5 inches on the blade. Handle is 4 13/16, and this guy weighs 3.5 ounces, which is very, very nice. I guess I should point out too that the only small dimension here is the grip area, only 3.5 inches of grip area there. But there's sort of a large ramp back here. So my hand does fit within that grip area. If you had really large hands, if I kind of spread my fingers out, you can see you could have room for your pinky back here. I don't really need it, but that could, there is that option to allow for someone with much larger hands. Let me, before I give you my sort of overall thoughts on this guy, bring in the Thorax really quickly. Larger knife, titanium frame lock, some nice milling on here, decorative pivot screw, S35VN on the steel instead of the M390 that we saw just a second ago on the Kingsman. All the things you would expect of a high-end titanium frame lock these days. Nice action, pretty good detent, but it's a bigger knife for sure. So 4.4 ounces, 8 and 11/16 overall, 3 and 3/16 on the blade, so over 3/4 of an inch. 4 and 7/8 on the handle, and 4 and 1/8, so huge grip area there. All right, 4 and 1/8 inch grip area, very comfortable little knife. I guess not that little, but I will say that, and I guess that's where I want to, my initial impression on this is if you like a larger knife, but you don't want to have to feel like you're carrying a larger knife, this is a really, really nice option. I like the clip point blade. I like the flat grind. So just a little plainer for sure, and probably a little more, pushing toward the practicality side of the knife using public, but coming back to the Kingsman here, we have a fancier gentleman's folder style knife. Very slim, very lightweight. The benefit, I think, of knives like this, and there are a few of them, it kind of reminds me of the Boost Blade Smoke a little bit, just because, you've got quite a bit of utility. You've got quite a substantial cutting tool on your hands here, but it's not super heavy. It's not difficult to carry. In fact, you wouldn't even notice this was in your pocket. You also get, for a very reasonable price point, I think these are around $250, and for that price point you get a very impressive, highly detailed knife. This is a knife where if you take this out and show it to your friend who always asks what knife you're carrying, he's going to be like, whoa buddy, that is very impressive. And it is. Okay, so my initial thoughts on the Kingsman is very classy, very attractive. Either EDC, general EDC, or possibly more designed to be a gentleman's carry. Thoughts on the Thorax? Probably a little more versatility there, certainly a larger knife. Something that is going to appeal to someone that wants the high-end features and the high-end materials, but wants something maybe a little less dressed up than the Kingsman. So there you go, guys. Two really cool knives from Tuya. I will, of course, have full reviews and discussions coming up on both of those. Thanks a lot, Dave, for sending these along. And if you're watching this, go over and check out Tuya Knives. I think you'll be pretty impressed with what they've got going on over there. We'll talk to you soon.